I think that in the future, for cardiology patients or patients with a suspected cardiac condition, it will be very helpful to have a system that can streamline the evaluation of these patients and the treatment of those patients, starting from the general practitioner, who could be trained and educated on imaging modalities, on various treatments in order to see which is the patient that need to be referred to a tertiary center to have specific treatments. And in that case, for example, it would be very helpful to have communication with the general practitioners where we can interchange imaging techniques or the imaging data, for example, with a handheld ultrasound system that can refer to us earlier patient with suspected heart failure, with suspected coronary artery disease, with suspected valvular heart disease, or with an arrhythmia as frequent as atrial fibrillation. And from that, we can decide here in a heart team where there are different disciplines involved, which is the best pathway for the patient. So if the patient comes to the general practitioner with symptoms of heart failure and is diagnosed atrial fibrillation and has a little bit of mitral regurgitation and the left ventricular systolic function is not that perfect, having a complete evaluation of that patient in terms also of comorbidities associated and just minimal imaging technique on how the heart looks like, that patient could come to a sort of multidisciplinary team and decide, we think that the first and most important problem of this patient right now is the atrial fibrillation. Based on the characteristics of the left atrium, could benefit from this treatment or this intervention. And from there, the patient goes directly into that path. Or it could be that the patient is, for what we see, is too sick, has many comorbidities, and it will be better to go to a more comprehensive team like a heart failure, where we can tackle all the problems and make a good evaluation of that situation, and from there refer to specific areas or specific fields where the patient is going to be treated. Or if the problem is clearly a valvular problem, but needs to be evaluated by the heart team that does valvular heart disease with the interventionalist, the surgeon, and the specialist on valvular heart disease. That would be really helpful in order to filter which are the patients that are going to benefit from a tertiary care center. Once in the tertiary care center, to have all the facilities in one platform that you can access them all and you can see them and contrast with the report that you have, that's very helpful. I always tell to my colleagues, look at the images yourself. Don't rely only on the report. Try to understand what the report says. And that will help also to discuss with the patient which are the best strategies. And of course, in the future, if we have an artificial intelligence, we have an ID of a patient at a specific moment that tell us how the cardiac condition is and how can evolve in the future, we could very much streamline what will be the follow-ups that are needed for that patient. Some patients will not be needed to be followed, but some patients, they need to be more frequently followed and need to be educated in order to know when the patient needs to come to the hospital or go to the doctor before it's too late.